This is James Lupton for Slothbox, sponsored by the Excelsior Sporting Club, and today I'm joined with Sam Lambert. Sam, how are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, very good, thank you, mate. You've got a fight coming up with your fighter, John Collier, bare knuckle boxing. That's it, the Jackal, September 16th, and he's come out of retirement again for this one. Just talk a little bit about how camp's going so far.
Really good. I know it's the old cliche of injury free, this, that and the other, but he's got that fire back. With the Aaron McCallum fight, he peaked too early. There was like he was ready to fight 2 weeks before, but I know we're a few weeks out now, but he's itching, shall we say. He's got itchy knuckles. No, he's good. He's training really well. All the injuries from old camps have gone. He's just hitting harder than ever. Like I say, it's cliche, but he is, believe me.
You mentioned last time round he's probably peaked too early, peaked probably 2 weeks too soon really during camp there before fight night. How do you manage it? How do you learn from that now going into this camp?
He just alters his training a little bit. His sprints, his running. Like I say, something happened in personal life as well. He's talked about that in interviews before. The fight was taken out of him, shall we say, a week before, but he was ready a bit too early. But now we just dialed him back a little bit, and you'll see what we've done on September 16th.
Let's talk a little bit about his previous fights. He lost his last one, and you mentioned to me off camera just a moment ago, you know, the situation is completely different to gloved boxing. You know, you had to deal with cuts yourself, you've had to be a cutsman and a trainer all at the same time. What's that like? What's that experience like for you in the corner?
It's an eye-opener, shall we say. So like I say, in glove boxing, you're just dealing with marks and rashes, very rare cuts. But in this, obviously because it's skin on bone, it cuts you quite quick. So in the Luca fight, he was cut just above his eye, on his eyelid. It was quite bad, shall we say. But you just got to convince him, like I said, told him it was something and nothing. Stick a swab in it, layer it with Vaseline, and we sorted out in the changing room afterwards. The Aaron fight, that was a very close fight, that. Like I said, peaked too early. Lost that on a split decision by 1 round in one judge's corner. So, you know, another day it'd have been fine. But it's an eye-opener, like I say. But it's just on making sure that I can make sure he's okay to fight. So it's not really about me. If I can get him out there full of Vaseline, that's what I'll do.
You mentioned as well you trained John for his gloved fights. He does his own promotion shows. He's, you know, a bit of white collar, a bit of a licence, this and that. And he's been around boxing for a long time, and you've been involved in that as well. I spoke to John as well, and he said there's not an awful lot of differences between gloved and bare knuckle for him. For you as a trainer, what are the differences between gloved and bare knuckle? It's
more about towards the end of it when we're padding. He'll start using MMA gloves, or we'll spar in MMA gloves, just to get his hands conditioned more than anything. You don't want to go too early, because that's when you're going to get injuries to his hands and his knuckles. But in terms of the lead up, the main part of the training, there's not really that much difference. It's just working more on tighter, because obviously in glove boxing you've got the big glove, you've got more of a guard. In this, even if it connects on your hand, you know, you've only got the small bones in your hands, that starts to hurt and break, shall we say. So it's just about conditioning him into the fight, shall we say.
So during camp, at what point before fight night would you introduce the smaller gloves?
Probably in sparring, probably about 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out. But he wears small boxing gloves, shall we say, to start off with. So, and in this camp, he's very spiteful in sparring. As you probably get some of the lads commenting on here, he is very spiteful in sparring. So even 10s, 14s, 16s, they all obviously the smaller you go, the less impact area, so it hurts more. But he is spiteful in any type of glove. You mentioned obviously the condition of the hands, the bones, etc., and you can feel the power more obviously with the smaller gloves and MMA gloves, and obviously to bare knuckle. For yourself, is it a worry to make sure his hands are okay heading into fight night? Do you need to have extra precautions, for example, to go into fight night knowing that his hands are okay to fight when the first bell rings? Not really, because obviously he's long in the tooth now, John, with fighting. He knows where he can push his body to without me having to tell him. He tells me, really, because obviously he's been in it a lot longer than me. But no, John's one of them. He knows when he's ready, and he knows when to slacken off and when to give it. But we're peaking just right here, just right. And John's got 2 years left on his BKB contract. He's 38 now. Like I say, he's coming out of retirement to come back to this fight because he feels he's still got a lot left in the tank. Yeah. For yourself, you know, do you see him seeing out his 2-year contract, or is it like John said, it's one fight at a time? It's one fight at a time. Like I said, we're coming off a loss, but there was a lot of factors in that. Not taking anything away from Aaron. Aaron's a good fighter. You've seen that in his last fights and the fights before. He is a good fighter, but a good John, a fit John here beats him, and I think he beats a lot at that weight, if not everybody at that weight. So it's one fight at a time, but it's up to him. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, so we can't push him into it. He tells us when he wants to fight, but I think you might see him more than once, shall we say.
And just for you on a personal level, as mentioned, you know, you're coaching John. John's the only fighter you coach at the moment. If he does pack it in, let's say within the next 2 years of his contract, BK, and doesn't fight again, he'll be about 40 years old. Do you want to continue coaching BK fighters, boxers, etc.? Is this where you want to go? Is this the route you want to go down?
I'm open to anything. Do you know what I mean? It's John that's brought me. I mean, I started off in UWCB. I've not had half as many fights as John, if any. It's John that asked me. Do you know what I mean? It's John that pulled me into the coaching. So, you know, if he carries on exhibition shows in gloved, I'll be there for gloved. If anybody else wants me to pad them, I'll pad them too. Yeah, it's where we are, kind of thing, really.
Perfect. With Sam, all the best of luck for September 16th. Thank you very much for your time.